Finally, wireless VR is here and it's amazing. This is the Vive Wireless Adapter. It's available now for the Vive and Vive Pro. I'm James Bruce and you're watching MakeUseOf.com reviews. Let's take a closer look. So this wireless adapter doesn't come cheap. It's $300 for the basic kit plus another $60 adapter kit if you want to use it with the Vive Pro. For that price you could buy an entirely new Windows mixed reality headset, or two even. But look, we're living at the bleeding edge of technology here. We're early adopters and we should expect to pay a premium. Inside this wireless adapter is Intel's WiGig technology. It's ultra high bandwidth but ultra short range. Now I should note that this isn't actually the first wireless adapter available for VR. There is the TP Cast. However, the general verdict is that it's not very good. It has a complicated setup, it comes with its own custom router, the software's a bit dodgy, and it's generally not recommended by anyone who's bought it. The hope was that being an official release by HTC themselves, the wireless adapter would alleviate all of those setup problems and be a lot easier to use, a lot more reliable, and so far it's living up to its hype. So inside the box you'll find four main components. There's the wireless adapter itself, which straps onto the back of your headset, either the fabric or the deluxe audio strap. It works with either. Although as mentioned, if you have the Vive Pro, you will need yet another adapter kit for this to fit onto that. Then there's a 10,500 milliamp hour battery, officially branded by HTC Vive, but you can buy third-party replacements as long as they provide Quick Charge 3 capabilities. It's charged over USB-C, and then there's a USB-A port along with a USB-A to A cable which powers the headset. This official pack should give you around 2.5 to 3 hours life. Then you have the WiGig PCIe card. Now this will need to be slotted into a computer, into a free PCIe slot, so notebook users are out of luck. However, you can get an M2 riser if you have that capability on your motherboard and no free slots. Finally, you have the transmitter and 6 foot of coax cable. This is what plugs into the PCIe card on your computer. Now this is a demure looking device, but this is where the magic happens. This is where the WiGig signal is transmitted to your headset from. The placement of this doesn't actually appear to be all that important, not as much as say the base stations, which need to be in the corners and high up. The placement of the WiGig transmitter can pretty much just be anywhere as long as it's roughly facing the right direction. Setting the wireless transmitter up is surprisingly simple. You'll have to insert the PCIe card into your computer and you'll want to unplug your existing cables. You can get rid of the cable or sell it on, you won't need it anymore, and then place the transmitter and the new set of cables from the transmitter into your headset. It's all rather simple. Next, just download a piece of software and install the drivers. Now from now on, whenever you use VR, you will have to run this additional software first. However, it's one click, it's very simple and very reliable. There's no other options to set up there, it just works. Try as I might to find latency issues, visual artifacts, or some kind of downgrade of the resolution, I just couldn't. It just worked. Sure, you can induce errors deliberately if you, say, have someone walk in between the transmitter and your headset, but that's to be expected. Over the normal course of play, where I was flailing my arms around, nothing really mattered. It all just sort of worked. There is one caveat to all this though, because the hardware itself doesn't handle any of the compression algorithms needed. They're all handled by your CPU. If you have an older CPU that's struggling to run VR anyway, you may have even more of an issue with this because it will tax your CPU a little bit. So 2.5 hours for the battery pack isn't amazing, but nor is it particularly bad. It's certainly a lot longer than most people will ever spend in a single VR session. So the maximum recommended play area when using this transmitter is 6 by 6 meters, which is technically larger than the recommended play area for the original Vive anyway. And since the average British home has nowhere near that kind of space, I had to head outside to the car park in order to test this out. Now the largest space I could muster outside was 4 meters by 4 meters, and that was a limitation mostly of interference from the sun, I think. I didn't wait until dark, I only tested during the day. Either way, 4 by 4 meters was significantly larger than anything I could have tested indoors. And it also meant I had no roof, which meant all the arm flailing I could possibly desire. The results were breathtaking. The sheer sense of freedom is, frankly, a little bit terrifying. I know the tethered cable can get a little bit annoying sometimes, but it also acts as a literal tether between yourself and the real world. So without that cable, it's all too easy to get completely immersed in whatever it is you're playing. You may even need to retrain yourself to play those same games again and to take advantage of the new room scale space. For instance, in Rec Room, I'm accustomed to using the snap turning mechanism on the trackpad, simply because otherwise turning would mean you get the cable tangled. But I still found myself using the snap turning mechanism until I had to kind of override my mind and say, no, stop doing that. You can actually turn now. You should turn instead. Just spin as many times as you like. It's fine. So it's quite hard to forget that habit, and you will actually need to retrain yourself to take advantage of it. The best game I found to take advantage of 4 meters space was Unseen Diplomacy, which is a sort of escape room game that uses redirected walking mechanisms without any artificial locomotion required. It actually requires 4 by 3.2 meters minimum, so we just about hit the minimum needed for that. Beat Saber as well was a lot more fun without having to worry about hitting this roof. But even if you can't take full advantage of a large room scale area, spin around, flail your arms around, lie down and snipe, it's still incredibly freeing to not have to worry about getting tangled up in the cable. So this is what VR room scale is supposed to be. This is what we were promised. This is one of those ultimate VR boxes ticked. We're now that much closer to a real-life holodeck. And damn if this isn't an exciting time to be alive. Be ready to rediscover VR all over again with a newfound sense of freedom. But is it worth it? To really test this out, I needed to go outside into the car park. Room sizes of the average British home, at least, are just not conducive to wireless VR. It is a luxurious upgrade, but one that I would struggle to call an essential. And at $300 at least, it certainly isn't cheap either. That's on top of a $500 Vive headset, or $800 if you were one of the early adopters like me, and on top of the cost of an expensive gaming PC. So for the time being, I think wireless VR is going to remain in the domain of arcades, public demo experiences, and obsessive home enthusiasts. But even so, I can't emphasize how amazing this feels. However, we do need to put this in the wider context of the VR market as a whole. The Oculus Quest was announced recently and is coming out for $400 next spring. Now that's an all-in-one mobile VR experience, albeit quite a powerful one, with full positional tracking and tracked motion controllers. So okay, it won't be running the full library of PC VR applications and games that we have so far, but it will have a good selection. Things like Robo Recall and Rec Room we already know are coming. For most people, I think Quest is going to be the best entry point into VR, into wireless VR in fact, and it's going to offer a complete VR experience that we so far haven't got from mobile VR, by which I mean positional tracking, motion controllers, decent games, higher resolution, and at a cheaper cost. So if you're going to need to make the choice between an Oculus Quest or a Vive Wireless upgrade, that's a tough call to make. Anyway, if you've enjoyed this review, please hit like and consider subscribing. We do 2 reviews and giveaways a week, as well as the odd technology tip, tricks, and tutorials. Check out our full site over at makeuseof.com for a range of articles and guides on every aspect of computing. And we've just launched a new sister site called blocksdecoded.com, where we try to explain cryptocurrency and blockchain technology in simple terms. Until next time.